This is Andreas, pop culture guy. This is Will and I are back again for another spectacular Marvel Plus talk. Yeah, for Secret Invasion episode 5 and 6. This is the end of the Secret Invasion series talk. Thank goodness. And I, I was like, oh god, I had to talk again with you, Will, and I was like, oh no, yeah, I remember that. And but no worries, we're gonna discuss Lucky, the season 2 trailer that just came out the last week, and it's blowing huge uh reviews, and I was excited to talk about that. But anyway, Will, how you doing, buddy?
Yeah, I'm all right. How are you?
Well, I'm doing good. I'm so happy that well, I need to tell you before we recorded that I'm going to see Pilot the new Ninja Turtles on Wednesday.
Yeah, how was
So
it?
yeah, yeah. Oh, I'm going to see it Wednesday, and
Oh,
I
you're
haven't.
going to see it.
You go. Yeah,
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 I see.
yeah. So I'm very excited for that. I'm excited for my birthday. I guess it's on Monday.
hmm
Which is why it's on a Monday, but whatever. Um, uh, I, I mean, I don't know. Did one of your birthdays land on a Monday? For
It's been a while. I wonder. Oh no, mine is also on a Monday this year.
Hmm?
I just looked. So yeah. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah. So, oh god, that's funny. Our birthday's on Monday. Anyway, I mean, my mom mentioned before that my birthdays were always on the weekends, so I
hmm
guess this is nothing new. So, but yeah. Oh wow, that is so cool. Your birthday's on Monday. Anyway, so what do you want to do, Will? I mentioned Secret Invasion and Loki season 2 trailer. What do you want to do? You want to get rid of Secret Invasion first and have a positive end to this podcast with Loki, or what do you want to do?
Yeah. Let's end on a higher note.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, so I, folks out there, if you saw me with my other the podcast, I guess on Secret Invasion, we were not happy about the series. When we got to 5, oh my god, I was shocked about episode 5. They they addressed the title stuff, which was good,
hmm
but it was the idea of bringing the harvest, which so anyone haven't seen the show yet, it's just basically Nick apparently collected all the superhero or the enhanced people slash aliens we know
hmm
in the MCU into one vial container, basically, of DNA. So conveniently, for the series, uh, at their end game, apparently that's what they say. That he gathered all this DNA at their end game.
Right. I.
Yeah, go
Why
ahead.
would why
Yeah,
would you put it in one vial?
yeah, and
It makes no sense. Like the only use for it being in one vial would be if you were making like a super scroll. Like you would want it to be separate so you could study the individual powers, right?
yeah.
Like
Well, it, well,
you don't go to a crime scene and then like mix all the blood you find together to help you
yeah,
solve the crime.
yeah. That's true. Well, the thing I'm more curious about is like how you can combine all that DNA into one, right?
Well, I don't think it's one like DNA. I think it's just like all the DNA is just like
well,
together in the one vial.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah,
With
no, that's
all
yeah,
with
that's what I'm
with
saying
all
too.
Yeah, well, no. Like I'm saying, with all those DNAs, could that cause like a what is it like when you have all those mix of DNAs? Could that like create this like very mixture of like a new stem of blood DNA? You know what I
A,
mean?
a new what? Sorry.
Like a new stem of blood DNA. Like you mix all those superpowers. Could that form into like a new DNA, like Jurassic Park. Let me explain this. You know how Jurassic Park explained how to create the dinosaurs with the
Yeah.
DNA they got from fossils. They used the frogs, the African frogs, right?
Right.
They,
Right.
because of the gender fluid, because they wanted to keep all the dinosaurs female,
Right.
right? Okay, that makes sense because you need to find the stain of the DNA to make these actual dinosaurs to like work. Because if you don't have the right, like you know what I mean, like the right part of the DNA to control this thing, the stem DNA, you're trying to grow this like new biological thing, it doesn't work. How is this bio give you all those powers if you don't know how to like control
Well,
those, like
I
because you
think
have tell me.
yeah. Well, I think in this particular sci-fi scenario, they weren't combining the DNA.
Hmm.
They just collected it, and then it was all together. But it wasn't like um, they weren't like splicing the DNA together.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I
until
guess.
until the Super Scroll
Yeah.
thing. But that's the Super Scroll's whole deal from the
Yeah.
comics. So I'm not
Yeah.
gonna harp on them for that. But
No, no.
um, yeah, I think it was just like a bunch of DNA separate but in the same container.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, in that case, like I, I, so this is where I was. I, I, I ranked my Disney Plus shows Phase 4, and I
Mm-hmm.
gotta say this was the worst I think episode I ever seen in television. Like
Yeah.
I,
Well, I don't know.
yeah,
I don't want to call it the worst. It wasn't. It was bad. Um, I don't want to say it was the worst without thinking about it more.
yeah.
But it's a
Well,
contender.
yeah, it's a
Uh,
contender. I know that, but for me, I was just shocked how they just dropped this new thing that was
it
going to
dropped.
be, you know,
Yeah.
because we didn't build to this. That was the
Right.
thing. Um. Anyway, I'll I'll bring this up later in this episode to six because apparently, just like the Falcon with the Soldier, it had massive reshoots. Um, and it seemed like they actually changed like like a lot of the storyline they had in this series they were supposed to do, and apparently the fight scene we saw with Gaia versus Ravik is actually a new thing that wasn't part of the original plan. That was a massive reshoot that they did.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm gonna discuss that more if you guys, well, it's tonight, but like the Monday report, we're gonna discuss that because apparently uh, it was massive. 4 months. They apparently say 4 months for the Secret Invasion show because apparently the Russia versus United States thing was too similar to what was going on with the Ukraine situation. Uh, so because if you remember the beginning of the episode, we're in Russia. We're in Russia, and the scrolls are trying to make the U.S. versus the Soviets. Well, yeah, uh, yeah, Russia against
Mm-hmm.
each other, and you see how we, like if you think about something like First Class, where you saw like how they pit, like actually show you the pits of in fictional way in revised history, like Sebastian Shaw forcing the Russians and the U.S. to hit each other to create a nuclear war, and then here you sort of get it, but it's almost like we're missing some parts between the squirrels using their strategy to force the president to go nuclear war against Russia and vice versa. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what happened with the show. And I and we ended. She-Hulk made a joke about this. They made a joke about having captured like this show actually did what She-Hulk was supposed to do, and it actually did it. Like you got a bio DEA of a superhero. Well, in this case, all superheroes instead of She-Hulk,
Right. Right.
and then we ended up with two fight same heroes.
Yep.
I was just like, wow. I I was just so shocked about this. So, oh my god, that was just like, it was just crazy. So anyway, So let's just quickly your overall thoughts on episode 5 and 6. What you thought about episode 5? And I mean, I guess
Um,
I
I mean, not great. Um,
no no
uh, again, like so much of this show just feels like it's just, it's so weird that there's simultaneously like really high stakes because like
mm-hmm. Yeah,
the world is on the line,
yeah,
but at the same time, like none of it feels like it's gonna have any impact on anything in the future.
no,
And they don't like stay in plot points for very long. They move on very quickly for a lot of these things. So
yeah,
yeah, I don't.
yeah,
I just.
yeah. It was very shocking. I mean, so like I I think I had to agree with you. I did question why they used Secret for the show.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, but then it's kind of unfortunate because the reshoots happened. So I think they had a good, maybe strong storyline, but then what was going on with the Ukraine and then the tense we have right now with the U.S. and Soviets right now. I can understand they have to change
The
that.
Russians. They haven't been the
Russians,
Soviets
yeah, I don't know.
for a while.
I don't know. I think I don't know what Disney thinks about it, but I gotta say Soviets. But anyway, Russians. You're right. I'm sorry. I think I'm thinking about Doctor Strangelove and like how
Yeah.
apparently in the U.S. Army, like Jack Ripper thinks that the Russians, the Soviets, are taking our bodily fluids. And anyway, I'm just thinking about that, just like how silly it is, but it's very scary. But
Mhm.
yeah, so like I mean, it's just hard to discuss the show because it's just how bad. And those I try not to remember the show. That's like the thing. It's like I don't want to remember episode 5 or 6. Um, I I will say, uh, I'm kind of shocked about this. Was Olivia Colman? Let's kind of give the positive. She's the best thing about the show. I
Oh,
think.
absolutely.
Yeah, like I was so happy you got to episode 5. The line she say, "Oh, hello, people are scrolls,"
Hmm.
non casually saying to those two, actual scrolls, the
Yeah.
scientists we call them.
Oh,
It's over.
my favorite line of hers was when she was like, I I forget exactly what it was.
Hmm.
Um, but it was something like, "Oh, hi, like Derek or something." And she's like, "My name's whatever." And she's like, "No, Derek's the one with his
Oh,
gun pointed at your temple or something."
yeah,
It's
I
like behind.
remember that.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, that was very
Uh,
funny.
it was very good. Her delivery was perfect. Um, yeah, that was a highlight,
Yeah,
a
and
bright
then
spot.
yeah, Bryce put to that episode 5, and then the part when she picks up Nick in the parking lot,
Hmm.
and she turns on the radio and like it turns on, I don't know, 90s music. I don't know what was the song was playing. It was very funny. How she reacted to that. Um, I think that was a really like I think without her, I think the show could have been really bad. But without her, like I think she's like the most redeemable thing, and I'm excited to see her again. Whatever.
Yeah, I hope she comes back.
Yeah,
Um, yeah.
yeah, um, yeah. It's gonna be crazy. I mean, because the was it the new direction with her taking to help with Gaia is kind of interesting. Um, I,
I don't
I
know. I'm not.
yeah, we'll get to
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
It
yeah.
was very rushed. Um, but I mean, it was with her. I think it could work maybe, but we'll see. Um, man, I guess we'll get into let's say, well, staying positive until we get to negatives. Another big one that I'm kind of surprised that does work is the Nick and his wife storyline. I think that is the most consistent storyline that is actually worked for me. Um, I feel like that's something that's been consistent, particularly how in in the season with I forgot the wife's name now. Something something. Uh,
Um, I,
yeah,
I
her name
don't
is
know. It's on here. It's
yeah something. Valerie Brazil. Um,
okay.
she was good. I don't really recognize her, but she's actually the mother for Glass, Mr. Glass in the Unbreakable trilogy. Um,
Okay.
and yeah, that's her, and she's playing the wife of Nick Fury, which is funny. I she's the best thing. I think her scenes were really good, and I like how now I don't like the ending with Nick and her, like the Kree and Skrulls peace treaty, but
Hmm.
I like the end part of there where they she asked him that you love like do you love me as I am, and he say yes. Like that was a great payoff to this like motif of like loving his wife as a scroll instead of disguising as a human. Like that really is working, and I think that was something that you do see Nick being changed as a person. Like he's accepting his wife as a scroll, which is neat.
Hmm.
Now, I don't know what you thought about it. I think it was really good. I think it was really the most consistent in the series, really. Uh,
Yeah, I
yeah,
thought it was all right. I think I said it in a previous discussion we had, but the entire storyline seems to have like too much emotional weight for how little time we've really spent with their relationship.
yeah,
Um, but if you like buy into the premise of like you should care about this, then I think it's done well. I liked the arc of him accepting her as she is and not in her like disguised form.
yeah,
But
yeah.
again,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's we've only had that for six like
Success.
half-hour episodes,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
not
Well,
yeah. I don't know. Like we've
well,
known Nick Fury for years, and then it's just like suddenly there's this
yeah,
backstory that was never even hinted at,
yeah,
and I don't know. I think it would have been better if they spent a little more time on it, or
yeah.
if the audience had like known both of the characters more instead of just Nick Fury.
Right, right. No, I agree. Well, so it's interesting you say that because I feel like the show actually did it. Like if we pay attention to the flashbacks they gave us, like what was it? I think it was episode 4 because we got
Yeah. The
beloved. Like
hmm
like that's a good example of how they really like utilize the time to really develop that. And I think that was enough to understand this relationship more.
yeah.
You know,
Again, I think it was good. I think it could have been better,
more.
but I will
I bet.
take in this show. I will take good because a lot of it wasn't good.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I agreed. I, just to like quickly wrap that up, I think it was very good. I think that they were like, I think it's because like they did a good job of payoff to this relationship. Like, with episode 4, you got the beloved, and then they booked it with the quote that she said to Nick back in 2012.
Hmm.
And like it actually pay out well. I think that's the thing that I like about it. Where
Yeah.
these other subplots they didn't get pay off, and that's the frustrating part. So but yeah, that's really it. So Gravik, let's get to him.
Okay.
I think he was really good villain until they just rush him to have a punch him up. and then
Yeah.
and just kill him so quickly was
Yeah.
really bad. I was
Yep.
like, why?
Oh,
I
I agree.
Yeah, I just didn't understand that, and I liked the twist that Gaia was Nick Fury, but it kind of deflate the dialogue that he gave to this fake Fury about how he has this face of the person he killed for
Right.
his first assignment, and it's like, oh, why you did that? It's just like,
Also, like, I that speech was like kind of convincing. Like I don't. I from Gaia's point of view, I don't understand why she'd like hear that speech about like um being promised like a new world and then being used and manipulated for decades and then wanting to like I don't understand Gaia's character, I guess. Because for her to like
no,
hear that and be like, "No, I'm gonna stay with Nick Fury, a man I barely know,
yeah,
but my estranged father was close with, so I guess I'm on his side."
yeah, yeah, or
I
yeah.
yeah,
See,
I don't know.
yeah, she was. I mean, poor Amelia Clark. She's a great actress, and all these IPs kind of is wasting her.
Yeah,
And this show particularly, sorry, like particularly has did not fully develop Gaia as a character. Like you think initially they were going this way, but then it wasn't, and then then it was just too obvious as well. Like and and then at the same time you don't get into her head enough like certain characters and
hmm
or really any characters in this show, like you're not into the head of your character slash side characters you have in the show to understand why they're doing this. Like everything that is doing, it makes sense. Okay, like she believes in graphics, believes
right.
and like you know plan of the scrolls and their rebelling. That makes sense. And like she is conflict. That makes sense because the information that Talos, her father, gave her that he killed her mother. Okay, I get that, and so she's torn. But and this is a good example. I saw this in a video that this show did the bad thing of telling you but not showing you, and
Right.
that's the issue that I have with Gaia is that you're telling me these things but you're not showing me that, and that's the
hmm
whole issue with a lot of the plot points and the characterization of these characters in the show. So like that's why it's really bad. It's like they're constantly telling you this, and it's like I get it, but you have to show me these actions,
hmm
and they don't do that, and that's where they're faulting. Like I, it's like at least with the other Disney Plus shows, they show you and they talk about it. Like at least like Wanda, like in WandaVision, the episode what 8, we got her full origin, like her childhood to this the experiment of Strucker, right?
Right.
And show you like it gave you so much information about why we have the sitcom thing in one division, and like this not only she was grieving, but she's using these sitcoms because that was the thing she loved while she was growing up, and it's like, oh, okay, that makes perfect sense,
hmm
you know, and I it's just this show just tells you, and then it give you the show. Like that's why I like the relationship, because they're telling you that, but they're also showing you that with like at least dialogue slash flashbacks,
hmm
but I feel like they needed to use that bit more with other things that need to be more clear, you know.
Right.
So that's my thing. And a guy like I mean, Clark is a great actress, but like it was really bad because it was like she was very quiet, and like she was just staring at the screen or like
hmm
staring like in the distance,
Right.
and it was like okay, that was that was like not good. It was like it just made her be like a very dull character in the show, unfortunately.
hmm
Uh, just not good. And then oh my god, her being super powered, that was a that like did not help. Um,
No.
like, I mean, I can disbelieve them knowing how to control these new powers, but I I don't know, it was just going too far with that. And it's like, what are we gonna do with her now with all
Right.
those
Yeah.
powers?
You can't make a super scroll. And really it's like even more powerful than the super scroll because it's not just the Fantastic Four, it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
everything. And then like you're just gonna leave that as a thing that exists in the universe.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they had written some like hand wavy, like, oh, it's temporary, like that would make more
More
that would
sense.
it would feel better,
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah,
know. It just feels so like overpowered.
yeah. I know. But they didn't care. He's
Yeah.
a super scroll. Um, I I mean, I don't know. It was just like I like the effects in this show, but I gotta say it was just weird to see a Drax on a lady. So that was a little creepy. Um, so for the most part, uh, yeah, yeah, that just didn't work. And then her joining with like well, joining her with yes, Sonya, uh, yeah, Falsworth, Olivia Colman's character towards the
Hmm.
end, it could be interesting. It's just I don't know how they're gonna pay off this storyline. It's like
Right.
it's like we have so much unpaid from Phase Four. It's like can I have this other thing now?
Right.
It's kind of weird. Yeah, so that was really bad. Well, and then Rhodey. I cannot believe I'm saying this, but the Rhodey
Yeah, but
thing was
yeah.
probably the worst thing in the show.
Yeah.
Like I I thought initially it was good until you sort of kind of question it about the timeline. I
Well,
or
yeah, they deliberately didn't say anything.
well yes, yeah. I mean, well okay, like they confirmed that it's after Civil War. I get that, but
Right.
there's a little more questions to that, like how they caught him, and then how long is this version of the fake? Like, it's really bad. It's like there's a lot of other questions they didn't answer. The finale, and we'll see if Armor Wars address this.
I'm
Uh,
sure. I mean, I feel like it has to,
I
which is too bad because I would rather Armor Wars just be completely independent from this. But
yeah, yeah, but they have to sort of address this. I mean, I just see this as like they can just address it quickly, like a 1, 2, 3 dialogue, and then that's it. Really, I
mm,
just like what they did with the the Accords and She-Hulk, like
right,
with Matt saying that it was a kill. So
right,
I can see that happening. Uh, yeah, but man, I gotta say the president was very stupid and evil.
yes,
Uh, I mean, poor Mr. Malone, who's a great actor. I forgot that he was in my best friend's wedding from Julia Roberts movie I saw so many times now. Uh, he first it was funny. He told his security guy to give him his gun. Give me the yeah, pardon my French. Give me the damn gun.
right.
Like really? And then
It's-
and then of course his speech towards the like we're gonna hunt you down the schools and literally
That
calling
was, oh god, that was so
yeah
bad.
yeah and then causing more tense in between old nations. Like wow, I wasn't expecting
Oh my god, for that to be like a 2 minute montage that gets like
it.
hand waved away at the end of like it felt like if that had been like if the end of episode one had been there's an attempt on the president and the assassin gets like the attempted assassin gets shot and it's a scroll and then he does that and that was the end of episode one, that would make sense. And then that's like the plot of the show is that humanity realizes that there's aliens among us and everyone's freaking out.
Yeah,
Um, that would be a great show.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
But for it to just be like a 2 minute like a plot line that lasted for like, you know, a quarter of the final episode and then didn't really get resolved
yeah,
is bizarre.
yeah. And you think about it, like this should have been what happened in episode four, like after episode four, right? Or yeah, episode three.
Yeah, when he actually gets attacked.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
that's where you should probably put that news thing. Then it makes sense with episode five and six with
right.
this whole fight. Like it's just so bizarre that they put that towards the end. It's like it doesn't make sense. It's like where we're gonna see the storyline next. It doesn't make like
It, uh,
I was just shocked that they did that, and it was just hilarious, and I was laughing so hard when they did. You see the montage, seeing the news.
it
That
was just so like jarringly graphic too.
yeah,
Like I'm here watching a like a cartoony Marvel show, and then I'm just like, nope, there's a person murdered on camera, like on live TV.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Jeez.
and then yeah, and shapeshifts into his true form, and then but then it was hilarious. Then you see the lady, the prime minister, getting shot, and she
Yeah,
wasn't a scroll, and
that
like
was really
wow,
dark.
yeah,
And like if that had been the tone of the show the whole time,
yeah,
and like again, if that had been episode one, and then they just like followed the like natural progression from there, and it wasn't like over the top like CGI slugfest, that
mm-hmm.
would have been interesting. That would have been a much more like entertaining
And saying yeah,
and engaging show.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think it couldn't work, but for me, it's just like it wasn't really a spy show for the most part. Like at the beginning,
Hmm.
it felt like a spy show, but then it sort of drifted into very genetic action show in the last three episodes, really. Um, because like you think like I I think it was just really bad. Like we didn't have really good paranormal scenes and like and suspense about who was going to be a scroll
Hmm.
because they like telegraphed who was going to be a scroll. Like like it was really bad that we lost H.R. Ross as the potential suspect because because we know that like the fact that kill off Mary Hill died, and so like we didn't have too many suspects of people that have been scrolls. You know, uh, you know, like I think they needed to play around with those suspect cards of who's going to be scroll when they're not supporting characters, but then they didn't care about the characters really. I feel like they didn't care about Marie Hill and they care about Talos. Like it was just like, oh, okay, so John, Rory was going to be a scroll, and like, and it was like kind of obvious. It's like it was so telegraphed, like Rory was a scroll, and it's like
Right.
I don't know, I just felt cheap. That's the thing. It's like
Yeah.
I get you cannot do the Avengers and all that, but I think you had a lot of options to make this work, but they just didn't took it in the way that I think it made
Yeah.
sense. Uh, yeah, and then what was worse? It was like uh the I say it like the the brought up mention of the Kree and Scroll peace tree was funny. Like, oh, like what's going on with that? Like,
Hmm.
I wish we had more of that information with the Kree having a peace tree with the scrolls. But I guess the Marvel's going to address that because we know,
Maybe.
yeah, maybe, like maybe it could work. Um, I think that it could work if we address that because I know because one image showed that like Carol was like in the back, like in the front, and in the background there was like couple scrolls, so it could be addressed. But we'll see. Uh, yeah. So, uh, I guess to like just wrap things up, I don't know what happened. I think that for a show that was expensive, 212 billion, it was very cheap. Like it,
Hmm.
if you pay attention to this show, like I didn't realize this, but this was funny from the video that I saw, Screen Crush. If you check the Screen Crush about their explanation of what went wrong with this show, it is very clear. Like so many car scenes of people talking, like no rooms, like you see in the show, so many our conversation is in cars or
Hmm.
vans,
Hmm.
and then um the other explanation, like especially the hospital, if you compare that to like the the TV show, like the does a good job of making you think you're in a hospital when you enter that like hospital of TV show,
Hmm.
like very like routine like hospital as you always go to as a person, right? In this show, literally, it's no people. They're there. Like the president's family is not there to visit him, right? And like and the security is like very weak. It was just so cheap in the show. Like I don't know where like. I think all that half money was just for the reshoots, really. So I think it was really bad.
Yeah.
So but yeah, so I think this was probably the worst Disney Plus show ever in my life. Like we have our worst ones. I mean, like I don't like still What If She-Hulk, but at least they have moments of high, you know. Like I enjoy, and there's episodes in What If and She-Hulk I can watch, you know.
Hmm.
Um, this I just can't. It was
Yeah.
just really bad,
Yep.
you know.
Yeah. There wasn't like one episode that was like a standout as great. Like
Mhm.
like you're saying, like the first episode of Miss Marvel, fantastic.
Mhm.
A couple episodes of She-Hulk, great. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
this, it was just like kind of okay to bad the whole time.
yeah, yeah. And well, and what helps with the shows is that they have identity. Like they
Right.
have, like they have like a clear gimmick or like an identity they had. They make
Hmm.
it very unique. This show, I like at first with the trailers, it was like, okay, you were trying to be like a like serious political thriller like Winter Soldier, but I feel like it was just like a cover up really for a show that like didn't know what it wanted to be. Like at one hand, it was like a political thriller, but then it was like a sci-fi like rebellion basically, right? I
Hmm.
I,
Hmm.
I don't know, and and then it was like a love story at the same time with Nick and this wife we got introduced. It was just like it was all over the place with tone. Like the tone was just all over the place in the show. Like it was tone deaf in certain aspects, which was really bad. And like killing off the characters was very tone deaf. Like like it did not hit Nick at all in the show. Like it was just like they fridge um Maria Hill,
Yeah.
unfortunately. And I think that it wasn't worth killing her. And same thing with Talos. Talos was fridge too. And like
Yeah.
that didn't hit anyone. Like, because especially like speaking of Gaia, like she say, "Oh, you killed my mother," and she didn't bring up her dad.
Right.
It was just like wow. It was like wow. I was like so I felt like I was violent in that moment. I was like, or I was punching the gut. No,
Hmm.
wow. Of just like how Talos was treated in that show. But, so yeah. And other than that, I cannot recommend this show. Don't see it. I I we can discuss a bit more, but it's not worth discussing the show. It was really bad. It was probably like one of the worst Marvel Disney Plus shows they produce. And yeah, objectively. and in my opinion, unfortunately. But I think that, well, we haven't talked about the hour. That was a mistake. Like from the beginning for episode one, it was long, but then some reason they cut short of the episodes.
Yep.
Which they did it because they wanted to save money. And that was
Hmm.
the, and they sacrificed that in the story. So yeah, yeah. So it was really bad. Any last thoughts on Secret Invasion before we get to Loki season 2 trailer?
Um, I don't know. I just after this and a few other movies, I'm worried about other like there are other shows that had less promise than Secret Invasion coming up.
Yeah,
And I'm worried about them.
yeah. I don't know what to say. Like, I have to wait and see if they're going to be good or bad. Really,
Yeah,
like
I don't know. I I
it's.
might wait
Mhm.
until other people have seen them and see like what the reaction is
Yeah, I can
before I
understand that.
watch them. I'm really worried about Daredevil.
Yeah, well, that's gonna be a long way if we
Yeah,
ever got even whenever the the actor strike is ending.
yeah,
It's gonna be a long way to get that show. So we'll see.
yeah.
So we'll see. I think this will be a good transition to Loki because if I don't know I think just looking at Loki season 2 trailer, I think if you see the trailer, I think I'm confident that it's going to be a good series.
Yeah.
And I think with Secret Invasion, it was hit by a fortune thing of confidence that was not there, and then there was like reshoots that it sort of happened with MN3 with the ending basically.
Hmm.
So they have to fix certain things that I don't think had to be fixed really. And if they just went with the original path, I think this show couldn't work. But unfortunately, they did reshoot so many things, and it just ended up being a very mixed bag kind of show. That it was very like unfocused and certain.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, so yeah, but hey, eh, we yeah, at least it was 6 episodes. It wasn't 9. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
That couldn't be really bad.
Yeah.
9. So
No.
so yeah. Okay, so let's end this on a high note. As we say before, as we'll say,